Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In today's episode, we're going to be studying a piece by the career multidisciplinary artist known as Heymes, and in this episode, we're going to be looking at this rather warped perspective. We're going to look at the dual color set of black and white. We're also going to explore the meaning of the antisocial disorder, so let's jump right into it. So at first sight, remember this rather dark figure amidst a sea of faceless men here. He is standing all alone, and he is kind of the odd one out within this composition, there's no doubt about that. So of course, the first things I noticed is this rather strange perspective. It's as if he's holding a camera or the source of our viewing here, and of course we're looking down upon him as well. This of course is incredibly important, and it kind of warps the composition as well, gives a very strange perspective to the composition at hand. There is no doubt about that. And like you see, colors within this work really revolve around black and white. This is a dual color set. There is an immense contrast created by that, and of course makes our lone subject absolutely impossible to miss here. That's really important to the work at hand. And one of the first things I noticed next to the impact of perspective and color is the impact of texture, right? You look, each one has this kind of cloth mask, if you will, and that texture is extremely realistic. We can really point to the digital render or the medium this was created in to create that realism. It is absolutely convincing, and it does an amazing job of immersing us within the work at hand. And next, we got to talk about the rhythm within this composition, right? You see each subject is really kind of shoulder to shoulder, back to chest, and they just go endlessly beyond sight. This creates a stunning amount of visual rhythm, of course, the tops of each head, and it is pretty even and orderly, but of course our lone subject disrupts that as well. Even this warp perspective plays into that rhythm within the work at hand. They're all very important when we're talking about this stunning work, and I want to ask you, how do you feel when you first saw this work, or what exactly comes to mind when you view this composition? This is actually part of a much more broader series where he tends to use this sense of contrast. For example, we have another work here with the same exact title, Antisocial Disorder. Once again, this is from the 3D or multimedia artist known as Heymes, and you see, of course, the rows of kind of faceless men, if you will. They're all wearing those cloth masks. The work on the right, they actually do have some mouth and eyes hole cut out there, but in the work on the left, it's a lot more anonymous, if you will. But in both instances, you see the immense contrast that's created by this lone black subject, which is accented amidst a sea of white faceless men. So this is really evident, of course, that black and white, that dual set of the color is incredibly important, does an amazing job of defining the lone subject in both instances. I just want to bring that in, talk a little bit more about how this work is part of a much more broader series where he, uses the same exact title, but also uses that incredible contrast of the black against the white here. We absolutely love to see it. So yeah, like I said, this is part of a much more broader series where the lone subject kind of gains consciousness amidst the crowd here. And normally when someone has an antisocial disorder, they try to blend in, but this composition rejects that notion absolutely outright. We see the lone subject kind of embracing that difference, looking up at the lone subject instead of looking forward, right? Everyone's attention is gazed forward, but he looks directly at us. So there is consciousness that is certainly elevated within the composition at hand, and our attention can't help but be drawn back to the subject time and time again. You look at all these other subjects in the composition, they just blend right in, and our attention is drawn back to this lone subject once more. And of course, he is alone, right? There are no other subjects which are looking at us, so that even further elevates his presence within the work at hand. And some may feel a sense of anxiety or the unsettling from this work. Of course, it is rather strange. There is, no info that is provided in any way or another. The only title that we have to work with is antisocial disorder. And like I said, when you have an antisocial disorder, you normally try to blend in, but this subject, is absolutely standing out. There is no doubt about that. Perhaps our lone subject is trying to blend in, but because of that antisocial disorder, they feel like they never can. There's a lot of different things you could draw from this work, and I want to ask you, what do y'all see when you view this work, or what comes to mind? Bringing up that question once again is just so important to the work before us here, especially with that title as an antisocial disorder. And like I said, they're all wearing masks, so there's this sense of the anonymous to this work, and I think that's just so important when we're talking about this stunning composition. But yeah, like I said, I want to ask you, what do y'all see when you view this work, or even who would you be in this composition? Would you be the one who's kind of blending out from the crowd, or you someone who tries to more so blend in? They're all really important questions to understand this work a bit deeper. deeper. But yeah, this is a very realistic work. Like I said, it was created in the digital render medium of expression, and the program used here is going to be Cinema 4D. Truly an industry standard, there is no doubt about that. It's not open source like something like Blender, but there are a lot of professionals who use Cinema 4D, so that must be for a reason. But yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things, from this dual set of the black and white color palette, the texture of these cloth masks. We talk about the antisocial disorder, how one tries to blend in, but they feel like they never can. We talked about the visual rhythm within this composition, an amazing example of that for sure. So many different things we hit on today. I really hope y'all enjoyed. Once again, this is a digital render, incredibly realistic, does an amazing job of immersing us and really convincing us of the realism of the work at hand. But yeah, like I said, that's all I have for today. If y'all enjoyed, go check out the original artist Heymes, or Heymes, not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but regardless, this is a stunning work. It was an absolute pleasure to study it. My name's Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.